The Paris Olympics are receiving a massive international backlash after insulting billions of Christians around the world. And now, a U.S. tech company has officially withdrawn its advertising in protest. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and I want you to share this video far and wide because we're seeing nothing less than a massive backlash against the woke left, with more people than ever protesting these Olympic Games. As many of you have heard, world leaders across the globe are formally voicing their outrage over what some are calling the shocking and insulting mockery of Christians during the opening ceremonies of the Paris Olympics. At the heart of the ceremonies, which were, let's be frank, generally speaking, the ceremonies were pretty mediocre. I mean, they literally rolled out Lady Gaga, of all people, as one of their performers. She's got nothing to do with France or French culture, or Celine Dion. She's Canadian. I mean, it was weird to say the least, but at the heart of the ceremonies was an utterly bizarre drag queen depiction of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. Again, we should note, a depiction of an Italian artist's painting. Now, again, where is France and French culture in all of this? Well, apparently the French culture was presented to the world as one that mocks the world, or better, ridicules and insults a particular people of the world, namely Christians. And world leaders were quick to voice their shock and their denunciation of this bizarre stunt. Italy's former deputy prime minister, Matteo Salvini, called it, quote, insulting and sleazy, adding, quote, opening the Olympics by insulting billions of Christians across the world. That was a really bad start. Catholic leaders around the world, along with French bishops, of course, banded together to condemn the insult. Hungary's ambassador to the Vatican has formally denounced the opening ceremonies as atrocious. Elon Musk voiced his concern, tweeting out, unless there is more bravery to stand up for what is fair and right, Christianity will perish. And even a self-professed liberal like Piers Morgan was flabbergasted by the bizarre event, asking whether they would dare to so openly mock any other world religion like that. Now, while some have tried to argue that the drag queens were actually attempting to depict the ancient Greek Dionysian banquet, we should note that French Olympic officials did end up publicly apologizing for the stunt. It was a rather lame apology, but it did end up inadvertently admitting that it was indeed a mockery of Da Vinci's Last Supper in particular and Christians in general. It's not surprising, therefore, that sponsors such as C Spire, which is a Mississippi-based phone service company, have withdrawn their advertising in protest of the absurd spectacle. And Donald Trump Jr. didn't hold back in voicing his disgust. He tweeted out, my mom was an Olympian on the Czech national ski team, and as a kid, we would be excited for weeks leading up to the games. Now with the ever-predictable and seemingly satanic drag queen opening ceremonies and never-ending BS, no one I know even thinks about it beyond maybe watching some highlights. It's such a shame that that event that used to create so much national pride now creates at best indifference. Using the games to push woke ideology has zero to do with anything the games stand for. Rather than highlighting the incredible accomplishments of these amazing athletes, corporate media subverts all their hard work to push leftist insanity. It's not only a shame, but a true disservice to some of the most talented and dedicated people on earth. Hopefully one day enough people will finally have had enough of the BS. Till then, you can continue to watch everything good and decent and everything you hold dear get burned to the effing ground. The choice is yours. Well said. By contrast, just so we all recognize precisely what we're dealing with here, by contrast, the outgoing First Lady, Jill Biden, praised the opening ceremonies, claiming that they were, quote, spectacular. Now, ironically, something spectacular did happen shortly after the opening ceremonies. Some are even calling it an act of divine intervention. You're going to absolutely love this. But first, gang, I know a lot of you are prepped with food and water if things were to collapse. But are you equally prepped for handling medical emergencies? Well, now you can be, thanks to the wellness company. Gang, they are absolutely amazing. They've given me and my family the peace of mind to handle any medical crisis, from tick bites to the next pandemic. The wellness company's medical emergency kit is a true lifeline. It's chock full of essential meds like ivermectin, antibiotics, antivirals, and more. This kit gives you real peace of mind for this area of preparedness. And the wellness company is a team of renowned medical professionals, including Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. James Thorpe, Dr. Harvey Risch, Dr. Drew Pinsky, and even more truth-seeking doctors. This medical emergency kit that they've designed, gang, it sets the gold standard for safety and prevention. So don't wait until the next crisis is here. Get peace of mind now by visiting twc.health/Turley and use code Turley for an exclusive $45 off plus free shipping. You heard that right. Use promo code Turley for $45 off and free shipping. I got my emergency pack. Now it's your turn. Click on that link below right now. Just 24 hours after the ceremonies concluded, there were reports of a widespread power outage throughout what's called the 18th district of the city. The district reportedly lost all power, but as you can see at the top left corner of the photo, there was a single exception. The one building that remained fully lit in that district was the Sacre-Cœur Basilica, one of Paris's most beautiful cathedrals. And even members of the media were openly asking, is this not divine intervention in the midst of the fallout from that drag queen mockery? And I have to say, I was deeply moved by that picture, that literal shining city on a hill, a new Jerusalem for all to see in the midst of this darkness. And I thought about how Da Vinci's Last Supper does the same thing for all of us, how it reveals a comparable radiance in the midst of all of our woke confusions. It's one of the greatest paintings of all time. It's a mural painting that spans 15 feet by 29 feet on the wall of the refectory of the convent of Santa Maria del Grazia in Milan. And ironically, the drama of the painting surrounds the moment when Christ said, "Verily I say unto you, one of you will betray me." And the reaction of each one of the disciples is depicted vividly by Leonardo. But as you can see, the entire painting centers on Christ. His head is the point perspective for the entire picture. The central window behind Christ is the only one with a curved pediment in the entire picture, thus serving as a halo. The space throughout the painting is ordered mathematically by threes, representing the Trinity, as well as fours, rectangles, depicting the four elements of the cosmos: earth, air, fire, and water. The groups of disciples are arranged in four, signifying the four Gospels, which are complemented by the four tapestries on each side of the room, with all 8 tapestries signifying the 8th day, the day of redemption, when God restores the world he created in 6 days and blessed on the 7th. But what do you notice about Christ's hands? Note how his palms are inverse of one another. His left palm is directed upward toward heaven, while his right palm is directed downward toward earth, representing his humanity and his divinity. But note what Christ is looking at. His hand, palm upwards, lays on the table, which of course is a piece of wood. Now just next to it is a glass of red wine, signifying his blood. Christ is staring at what will happen in mere hours. He will be giving up his own life for the life of the world, that very world that so mocked and ridiculed him on the cross. And so it's no coincidence that that hand is open towards us, inviting us, even the very ones who mocked him, to the restoration of paradise in his death and resurrection. That's what Da Vinci's Last Supper calls all of us to. And ironically, thanks to yet the latest round of mockery and derision, that mercy shines forth and lovingly calls all of us yet again.